Bryce Huff is headed out of town to the San Francisco 49ers. We're unpacking it all next on the PHLY Eagles podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PHLY Eagles podcast presented by TrueMark Financial. And we've got breaking news on a Friday. Fran Duffy in the middle, Bo Wulf over here, and over there, our Eagles insider who is going to tell us all about the big trade that is not being officially swung today, but will be once the calendar turns to June.
Yes, the Eagles are working to finalize a deal. That's the terminology that I understand, to send Bryce Huff to the 49ers for a mid-round pick. This is according to a league source. It was first reported by Adam Schefter. The trade, as Bo said, will not go into effect until after June 1st. Along with that, there is some contract restructuring before the trade's made to help facilitate the deal and will actually be financially and salary cap-wise beneficial for the Eagles. This is per Field Yates from ESPN. The Eagles will save $7.95 million in cash and create more than $15 million in cap space with a reworked deal. So essentially what they did is they converted a roster bonus into a base salary. The Eagles are paying a portion of that base salary as a signing bonus, and then the 49ers will take on the remaining part of the base salary and the remaining part of the deal. So we talked about how it could be financially prohibitive for the challenge financially for the Eagles to make a move. A restructured contract helps facilitate that. By doing it post-June 1st, you're able to spread the hit over 2 years. So the Eagles will open up short-term and cap space this year, and then there will be financial cash savings thereafter. We'll get to the ramifications of the football team, but Bryce Huff hasn't been present, right? He was not there at practice this week. We discussed on the show the other day about how it seemed likely that there could be a change of scenery if they could find a trade partner. Post June 1st would be the time to look. And the 49ers coached on defense by Robert Saleh, for whom Bryce Huff had his best or his most productive years with the Jets. It seemed like an ideal match.
Okay, a lot of things to unpack here. Let's start with the state of the position now that Bryce Huff is gone. Fran, you've got obviously Nolan Smith, Jalyx Hunt at the top right now. You're hoping that Azeez Ojulari and Josh Uche and maybe Antoine Powell-Ryland can mix in there. Maybe Jahad Campbell is a part of that mix. How do you feel about the state of that position as we move forward now?
Yeah, certainly some projection. I think I was just looking at the group. I think when you're looking at Nolan, I think we know what to expect. He is coming off shoulder surgery, so that's certainly something to monitor as well. But Jalyx Hunt going into year 2, is he going to be ready for a huge jump in snaps? I mean, what can you expect from Jalyx Hunt, former third-round pick? We know that the path that he has taken to this point ended the season on a high note in the Super Bowl, but still looked like a developing young player throughout the majority of last season, even as he got an uptick in snaps. So that will be something certainly to monitor as we go through the rest of the summer. You're hoping you can get one of those two vets that they signed on the free agent market, either Azeez Ojulari or Josh Uche, to really kind of become a player for them, become an impact role player, potentially even a starter if Hunt is not ready for that expanded timeshare. So that is something that will be now, I think, kind of right in the square, right in our target share now in terms of things to watch as we get into training camp and the pads come on. You mentioned Powell-Ryland, but also Patrick Johnson, another guy that's kind of opens the door maybe for a Patrick Johnson. If the two vets that they brought in, if Uche and Ojulari don't necessarily work out, I wonder if Patrick Johnson, there's another path for him to potentially make this 53.
Just looking through who else is still on the street. It's the Darius Smith, Matt Judon, Preston Smith level of player. Jadeveon Clowney is still out there. Do you think that the Eagles are good to go here, Zach, or do you think they will maybe monitor the veteran ring chasing market?
No, I don't think they are good to go here. I said it yesterday. Edge rusher is my biggest concern. And we'll get to that.
bit,
I am not now. Clearly, uh, I did not expect Bryce Huff to be like a solution at edge rusher, but it's a roster spot number one. There's money to allocate to the position now. They have draft picked inventory, so we look at the free agent market. Yeah, you have more of those veteran ring chasers, like you said. The Eagles haven't had as much success in recent years with your Robert Quinn type moves. Now you're probably looking at it from like the 3, 4, as opposed to like higher up. I mean the third or fourth edge rusher as opposed to higher up. But Nolan Smith, Jalyx Hunt, Azeez Ojulari. Yeah, I think you need more juice there, and I it would not be surprised if the Eagles scour the trade market to try to find that option.
Okay, let's talk about how the Eagles did here. We can sort of frame the Bryce Huff signing as not a good one. They still won the Super Bowl. That's totally fine. But they paid, like $26 million for him to do nothing and be inactive in the Super Bowl and be gone in 1 year. But last year in the past, I mean, mid-round pick, we don't know what it is. But I'm actually a little bit pleasantly surprised at the return here.
I think they did a great job considering. I would have thought that teams would have tried to wait this out a little bit. Obviously, Robert Saleh being in San Francisco, as Zach pointed out, I think that kind of upped the comfort level for John Lynch and the 49ers there. But to me, to come out of this with the amount of money that the 49ers took on from a salary standpoint, to get the amount of savings that you did, and then also get, I mean, the way that, so we don't know the exact pick yet. Adam Schefter called it a mid-round pick. I can't imagine that would be a 4. I think it would be, if it were a 6, I think you would call it a late round. I think that's a pretty heavy lift there to say that that's a mid-round pick if it's a 6th rounder. So I'm assuming it's a future 5th round pick, which to me, I think that's fine value for what you were expecting to get out of Huff at this point in 2025.
Is that worth it for the cap savings to just not have him in the building? Do you think that it had soured completely, that it was untenable to have him here?
Based off the reporting and the way you guys talked about it yesterday, I think so, right?
Yeah, the fact that he was inactive in the Super Bowl, I think speaks volumes there. And look, the signing didn't work out. The Eagles, it's clear that was the case. It was clear last year that was the case. One thing that Howie Roseman's demonstrated, and I remember talking to Joe Banner about this, is you, as an executive, you need to have the willingness to move on from a mistake as opposed to compounding it just to try to save face. And in recent years, the Eagles have been willing to do that. I look at it like, this is the best possible return. I was curious what the value for Huff would be. I mean, we spoke about it with Professor Selman yesterday. The Eagles weren't bidding against themselves last year when they signed him. So he has fans in the league.
Sure.
That said, I'm curious who the 49ers were bidding against here, right? I mean, I imagine there had to be some urgency to adjust the contract, right? Take on the money on the deal and give up a draft pick. I imagine Bryce Huff can play. I mean, full disclosure, and this is documented. You go back to our free agency shows last year. I liked the signing for the Eagles. He was a player going into it in the free agency quackatology. I was saying they should go after this player. They should go after this profile player. And so it will be hypocritical for me to say I saw this coming last year. But I think this offseason, I just thought the ship had sailed and the Eagles were going to try to move on and the Eagles weren't going to rely on him. I thought they might wait until training camp to see if there's an injury someplace else. But the fact that the 49ers seem motivated to do this, it's a good return for the Eagles, all things considered.
You like to say and frame things as, and Jeffrey Lurie has talked about it, like the discussion of Howie Roseman's job security versus how willing he is to take risks.
Yes.
Some people frame it as, well, he can take risks because he knows he has job security. You say, and Jeffrey says, that he has job security because he takes risks.
Exactly.
If it's about moving on from your own mistakes, is it because he has job security that he's willing to pull the plug? Or is that part of why he has job security, because he's willing to do those things? Because he hasn't always been willing to do that. This has been more of an evolution.
Sure. I mean, perhaps early on there was some hubris involved, right? I think too, what you learn is if you're trying to extract value, then it behooves you to act sooner rather than later. If you don't think that he's he's going to be a good player for you, then you if you just throw him out there, he's not going to raise his value. Now, it becomes supply and demand. Like you could wait for there to be more demand, but like Fran was saying, and I agree, I don't know if they were going to get a better offer at any point than this one. Yeah. So I don't know if it's a job security thing. I think it's more just he has eyes. I think he has more confidence in his job now, probably, and he's willing to say, you know what, this didn't work out. Let's cut our losses.
Do you think that anything changed because during the Super Bowl week, talking to some people behind the scenes, it was sort of like, oh, you know what, this was not a good year for Bryce Huff, but we still have hope for him here.
Yeah.
Do you think anything changed this offseason?
No.
You think that was just a lie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was. I mean, they don't want a story or Super Bowl week to be like the $17 million year guy we gave can't play. I mean, it's much better to kind of frame it like, well, this book hasn't been written yet, but I think the book was written when he was inactive for the Super Bowl. I mean, I think that.
I tell you what, this could be the path to a nice resolution for you and Emily next offseason. You will write a book. It will just be the history of Bryce Huff with the Philadelphia Eagles, and that will not take quite as much of your time.
No, the book has been written.
Right, I was going to say, it's
I don't know what the marketplace is for that book. Probably less than what the marketplace was for him on the trade market.
I don't know. It'd be good.
He does have, I think, 2 references in the book that's coming out on September 23rd, leap year.
Where could people buy that?
Anywhere books are sold. You can pre-order it now on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, hopefully your local bookstores, but you typically go into those shops there. Maybe you can put a deposit down if they would take it. I hope they would. But September 23rd.
Just showing up and willing to put in deposits. I like that.
Two references.
2 references.
I'm trying to think of when that would have happened.
I think.
Well, you got to mention him as part of
the offseason. Yeah. And then I think and then I think like toward the Super Bowl. You mentioned.
Yeah, you got to circle back.
You got to circle back.
You do have to close.
Or maybe it was the injury. Actually, if I can actually do a little search here.
He's got it up. He's got a lot of reading to do this weekend.
He's on 5 different pages here.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, but most of them are in the free agency part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting story of the season. They won the Super Bowl.
Sure.
And this was arguably one of Howie Roseman's, if not the worst free agent signing he's ever made.
I mean, literally, they made a bigger investment in Bryce Huff than Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Now you can say that the position had something to do with it, but and internally they were very excited last year about the Bryce Huff signing. They view this as an ascending player. They were willing to move on from Hassan Reddick. Like they could have kept Hassan Reddick if they want, try to give Hassan Reddick $17 million. Now I don't know if Hassan Reddick would have stayed for $17 million, but they were excited about where Bryce Huff was going. It clearly didn't work out.
And, well, this was also one where, looking back, it seemed clear, at least to Vic Fangio, right away, that this guy was not who they thought he was. What you were in the building at the time, Fran. What is your understanding of as Howie likes to say, sometimes free agencies are like arranged marriages. They just, sometimes they don't work out. Like how soon do you think they knew that this was not necessarily who they thought?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there were, even though, look, you had some people in the building that were clearly a fan of his, fans of his game, right, and what he could be. There were other people in the building that had reservations as well. And I think when you had his profile, in terms of trying to project his role moving forward, there was reason for concern. Can this guy develop into a 3-down player? You're paying him like one. Can he turn into one? And obviously Vic Fangio voiced that publicly, but. I think that there was reason certainly to be a little bit worried about what he could be in that defense.
So if the front office does a debrief this summer on this, right? What's their lesson from this signing? Like,
That's a good question.
Do you stay away from situational rushers? Do you look for more of like the size, speed, athletic profile to think that it's an ascending player, and like there's the untapped potential? Or do you just say, all right, we're just going to sign big ticket guys? Like we're going to.
It's funny, Zach, because we do the poking of the fun at their kink for guys with first and second second round draft pedigree. They paid a lot of money to a guy who was originally undrafted. I would imagine that this is a data point for Howie in how they approach those things.
Not to mention too the cohabitation matrix.
Yeah.
You know, like having someone in the building that maybe had worked with him in the past, which obviously like that's the case for San Francisco. That might be able to give you more
But
confidence.
Joe Douglas, we just got him back.
Well,
Joe Douglas is the one who let him go.
Yeah, right.
So,
but it would have been on one of those things where it's like, hey, like, do you think this guy can project forward? Will this guy be willing to play against the run as opposed to just trying to wish cast it?
Yeah, what do you think?
I think that they would be less inclined to go with that profile, the undrafted rookie situational pass rusher, and I think they'd be more inclined to kind of I don't think I shouldn't say undrafted rookie. Like Howie looks fondly at the Rodney McLeod signing. He was an undrafted rookie, right? He didn't come with draft pedigree, but I think.
But there was projection here.
A lot of projection.
He's going to have to play more snaps. Why hasn't he played that many snaps? And so, I think that's part of it.
I think too. I don't know Vic Fangio well, right? And I wish I knew him better. But you said like Vic kind of identified this right away, and maybe Vic seemed to put more stock, I think, than Howie did. I could be wrong in the dropping in the coverage. Like in camp, that was the first thing Vic
and the run defense.
Yeah, the first thing Vic said was like he can't do this. Basically, he can't drop, right? And so you're only going to have him on the field as a designated pass rush. I think Howie views it. I don't want to put words in Howie's mouth, but Howie's like, this guy can get to the quarterback, and that's a skill that's worth money.
Do you think the Vic of this means that if it were a different defensive coordinator, they might not have been so quick to move off of Bryce Huff?
Well,
That's
a good point.
Whether that is Vic's sway or just his rigidity and like, I know that this guy is not going to work for me.
Like if Sean decides there, Howie's like, tough luck, play this guy.
Right.
Yeah, maybe so. I
was rereading the transcripts from the post-draft pressers this morning after the Jihad Campbell pick, after the Mukuba pick, and Howie talking about Vic Fangio and his influence over player evaluation, and just how he kind of reiterated how Vic, even just this offseason, was able to like further kind of like cement, this is what I'm looking for. This is my vision for players at this position. And so I think, even just fast forwarding a year from what, any conversations they had about Bryce Huff and the plan for Bryce Huff in March and February of 2024 to what those conversations look like now, it's probably a little bit different.
Interesting. What a newsy Friday.
Yeah,
it's great.
All right. Why don't we take a little break, come back, a few more Bryce Huff questions. We have your super chats, and we're going to do a little modified tick friend ZachFranBo, whatever it is. We'll figure it out in just a few minutes. All right. Who are we going to talk about? Who else? Our old friends, I believe, at HelloFresh.
That's right.
HelloFresh. You remember HelloFresh. What do we talk about? We say cooking for the family stuff, especially if you got a newborn and you got to find out something that's going to check all the boxes. It's impossible. You can't make something that's healthy, quick, and tastes good, right? You're trying to pick 2 out of the 3. But with HelloFresh, for once, you might be able to get all 3. HelloFresh is the world's premium meal delivery service. In 2025, we are evolving to fit every lifestyle by bringing customers even more convenience without compromising on taste, health, or homemade quality. HelloFresh's new ready-made meals offer chef-crafted, flavorful dishes that are ready in just 3 minutes, so you can dig in and get outside, get work done, or just get some me time. They've also got flexible deliveries that you can pause or skip when you need it. Feel great with meals that fit your spring schedule and make the season even more delicious. Go to HelloFresh.com/Eagles10FM now to get 10 free meals with a free item for life. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. Get up to 10 free meals and a free high-protein item for life at HelloFresh.com/Eagles10FM. 1 item per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. That's up to 10 HelloFresh meals. Just go to HelloFresh.com/Eagles10FM. America's #1 meal kit is HelloFresh.
So it's May 30th today, okay? And I've been wanting. So it's the last day. It's our last show in May. First day of May, we started talking about Art of Words, and I've been wanting to talk about them, and I've never had the chance yet. So I'm eager to do so because the best thing I can say about any place we talk about is I was a customer before I was an endorser or advertiser or talking about them here. And if you go into my house, I have an Art of Words poster there. The Liberty Bell, I think it's the Declaration of Independence there. A picture's worth 1,000 words, okay? And this local Philly artist proves it. Each piece is made entirely from handwritten words, like every eagle forming the link and every Philly shaping Citizens Bank Park. It's not just sports. He's captured Boathouse Row, Reading Terminal, the Philly skyline, the Jersey Shore, so much more. There are unforgettable gifts for sports fans, grads, housewarmings, Mother's Days, Father's Days, any occasion. My son received a holiday present back in December that was from Hello Words. I'm not sorry, from Art of Words. I say hello to the words, Art of Words.
Fresh.
Yes, it's available. He started selling it at the K Lot and Rice's Flea Market, and he credits he credits Phillies fans for launching his career. It's available for dozens of teams and cities. There's something for everyone. There's pieces that are total conversation starters, and you'll spot a name then another, and soon everyone's reliving their favorite sports memories. He's been featured on the Today Show, ESPN, and TED Talks. Check out artofwords.com. That's artofwords.com. Use code PHLY at checkout for 15% off your purchase.
I don't think I've had an iced tea like this in maybe a decade.
Out of the can?
Yeah, and this brand, which I will not say.
Got it.
I went food cart for lunch today.
I love the food
but
cart.
you get the free drink with the and
Say that
I wasn't
again?
gonna get a
just-
soda.
You just rocked his world. with
The-
how you pronounce that.
Euro.
I say Euro. You say, say it again for me. Euro.
I'm not your trained monkey. I'm not gonna.
I'm not trained monkey. I'm so impressed by your.
Chinese.
I'm so impressed by your pronunciation.
What was the from Brazil?
Caprina. That's what it is. A Caprina. I went up to the counter and I said, "We'll have a round of Caprinas." Yeah, it's basically sugar water. Yeah, it happened to be very good, delicious.
Yeah, very good.
Yes.
Yeah, a little mojito-y.
I love a mojito. Yeah, one of my favorite drinks. Drink is my favorite summer drink for sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
How was
but a lot of sugar, so go Pabst Light and you don't have to worry about the sugar.
There you go. True. That was at dinner last night.
Delicious, better company though than
that's right.
than food. Yeah, killed it with the card. She killed it. She did better than me, but I killed it with the card.
Okay.
Unfortunately, or not unfortunately, fortunately, I took Bo's recommendation. I was gonna go for the discount card because I think it's what you write inside. That
Who's gonna
matters.
get his anniversary card at Five Below?
But it's what I want to just do the personalized station,
yeah.
the stationery.
A loose leaf. Yeah.
Bo, Sheil, and Marissa told me that's a big no. Okay, so I've learned from that. It used to just be the Zachary Berman stationery with the, but it's a beautiful note, like hand. I do the full.
I actually
do
would
both
go.
sides.
I think the personalized stationery is better than the discount store.
So then I go and the card I get. Cards these days. I can tell you. Got to the counter, and I was like, "Wait, this is the only thing I'm buying here."
Where'd you go?
Local store.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chain.
Grocery store. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, not that much better, but okay.
I mean, trust me, it wasn't Five Below.
12 below.
No, it's definitely below 12. Yeah, but it was a nice card. Nice card, and a very deserving recipient of the card too.
I should say so.
Yeah.
All right, a couple super chats to get to
Yeah.
on the Bryce Huff front.
Wait to see this one.
Frank, ZB, Fran and Bo, what is your favorite Bryce Huff memory?
My favorite Bryce Huff memory was talking to him after the New England game, having a chance to sit down and speak with him, and he played more that game. Yeah, I think he was one of the only defensive starters who played that game, and he was accountable by his locker, and there weren't a lot of reporters at that game, and he was very he understood why the questions were being asked. He played ball with them. So I can't say I got to know him exceedingly well during his time here, but I guess that one jumps out.
Yeah, I can't say that I got to know him exceedingly well either. But I would say I mean, there were some clips where he like turned the corner and he just didn't do anything to win it. It was a bewildering year just because like even the things where you would say like, oh, he did this well in New York. He should be able to do it. It was just a bad season. It was an ugly season.
Do you remember a thing like that where even the thing that the guy used to be able to do well so quickly lost it, and not as a result of like, aging or something like that. It was almost as if like somebody else had taken over his body.
Well, that's why, like, to me, sometimes you see that and it's like guys are thinking too much. There's like the stress of it, the sports psychology part of it, I think can kind of come into play. And you mentioned it the other day about how like this had to have been a pretty rough year, like off the field for Bryce Huff, just to, everything that he had dealt with. That's a tough one. I'm trying to think. We've seen players come through. I mean, not even just Eagles, like, Markelle Fultz, like completely forgetting how to shoot a free throw. Like, we've seen those kind of examples here in Philadelphia. I
think my favorite Bryce Huff memory was discovering him at the Shrine Game.
Oh, okay.
Of course, inventing him.
Of course, inventing him. Yes.
It's what a weird year.
Yeah.
I mean, good for him though, because
he's still getting paid.
He still gets that contract, and he gets to go and play for a coach who like believed in him and a scheme that fits him. So
no expectations.
Yeah, it's one thing if like you get cut and that, but he's still on the same contract, right? So this is a win for Bryce Huff.
Yeah, for sure. I'm clearly he didn't like it here. You think he'll be at the ring ceremony?
No, I don't. No, they'll send that ring out.
Okay. Super chat from Ross says, my son started T-ball last night and ZB was right. Entirely too much clapping.
What was this regarding?
I think this was about you were saying that your Reed's grandparents were too happy about his performances in T-ball.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, now my father. Gotta be careful. My father-in-law watches and listens to the show.
DR.
He's the man. Terrific person. But yeah, I have told him that if Reed makes contact, let's not throw a parade and call him Major League Baseball scouts, right? Let's we gotta. It's like the boy who cried wolf, right? You have to, no pun intended. You have to you have to earn applause. You have to earn congratulations.
I think there's a happy medium there.
As I say, and I feel I tell him literally every time, I don't care how you do, I care how you do it. Right? I care the type of teammate you are, like cheering on the other guys. That's important.
What is the benchmark for applause?
A fundamentally sound play, right? Like if he gets the barrel on the ball, good work, right? He lines out, but he gets a barrel on it. Yeah, well, I'm not a clapper, like at the games sometimes, but yeah,
why not?
I'll tell him. I try. Well, no, if I'm coaching, yeah, but if I'm a parent, try to keep like a lower profile. I don't know. I always remember the parents who were like overly.
I do too.
And I guess I never wanted to be like that. I always want like I feel like that could put too much pressure on your kid in the other direction too. So I'm there and I try to be supportive, but like I don't overly clap, and I will say nice job more about like hustle or being a good teammate. And I always tell the players, like, cheer on your teammates. That's the stuff that matters to me.
Yep.
Jake Makes super chat says, how could there be so much summer football news? You guys rule. Thanks for all the saved road rage on my morning commute.
Oh, Jake, I appreciate that.
Very generous.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Wow, Jake. $50 for the audio listeners.
That's going to mean that Zach can afford his next anniversary card. That's very generous. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Jake. That means a lot, seriously, to know we're part of your morning commute.
Fantastic. Ross comes back in the fold. He says, any chance of getting a Brian Roll Tommy Gun celebration merchandise? Hashtag for the sickos.
That would become my favorite shirt.
I mean, I would wear that every day.
I got to say, I don't have any jurisdiction over the merch we sell here, But I've always thought we should lean more into like the unique esoteric merch as opposed.
So do I.
Like I think that some of the I think sometimes I don't want to get myself in trouble. It's like it's like Shield says about this
Who?
business, Shield Kapadia from the Ringer, that like don't don't do the same thing everyone else does, right? Find your own lane, and I think if you're doing the same thing everyone else is doing, I don't know what your competitive advantage is, but like I think that if we can lean into some of the esoteric merch, I think it'd be great.
I mean, that's a great idea. just letting that shirt drop out of nowhere.
Would you
hard one to
2
explain.
Super Bowls.
Would you want any caption underneath that? Or just the image?
I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe it's like the line in the Home Alone movie.
I believe you, but my Tommy gun don't.
That's good. But then I don't know. Anyway, DJ aka Mr. Sandman. Huff couldn't drop into coverage, but Hassan Reddick refused to drop into coverage. Ultimately, Howie traded Reddick for a draft pick and cap relief.
I didn't view the Howie as the Huff trade as like Hassan for Huff. I mean, I suppose in terms of the role on the team, but I didn't necessarily view it like that.
I mean, he was the direct replacement.
True. But I didn't view it as like they traded Hassan for Huff and a third-round pick.
Yeah.
I didn't view it like that.
Yeah.
But I see your point.
All right.
I would still rather have, I said last year, I'd rather have Hassan Reddick than Bryce Huff.
Yeah.
And I actually think, Hassan Reddick didn't have a good year, but I do think that came to bear last year too.
He didn't have a year last year. He didn't play.
Yeah.
And he wasn't at OTAs in Tampa.
No. But you tell that guy to go after the quarterback, he'll sack the quarterback.
Keep the change, you filthy animal. That's
yeah.
what it would be. Yeah, you do keep the change, you filthy animal, and it's Brian Roll going like this. That's pretty good.
I like that.
Okay. Do you want to go back to the rubric? Do a little Fran Bo?
We got time. We might as well.
Yeah.
Okay. We've each come up with 3 little prompts, 3 little questions. How about I'll start? I'm going to ask. give me your number 1, Fran.
My number 1, got it. It is going to be now. So basically, my trifecta here is woodpecker. They rather. So rather than woodpecker, you rather. It's what would the team rather have happen? So my first one: woodpecker? They rather Jahad Campbell evolve into a starting level edge rusher, or any one of the day 3 tackles. So either Miles Hinton or Cameron Williams develop into a starting level tackle. Now, not a Pro Bowl level, like a starting level. So like solid starter off the edge.
Like Halapoulivaati Vaitai.
Sure. And then for same thing with Campbell. Not like a true like impact, like, oh wow, pass rusher. We're not talking he turns into Micah Parsons, but he turns into like a solid edge rusher, or
like Josh Sweat, or worse than that.
Probably a little bit less than that.
Okay.
Or Hinton or Williams develop into a starting level tackle.
Does that mean that is all that Jahad Campbell does?
You are signing that, like you can sign the dotted line right now to guarantee that one of these 2 outcomes is going to happen. Yes.
So he could still be a premier linebacker.
Correct.
I think they would take the tackle.
Yeah,
I think so too.
I agree with you there.
Yeah.
It just allows you to plan a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
It's just the surplus value. I mean, if one of those guys turns into Halapoulivaati Vaitai, that's a home run.
Sure.
Yep.
If Jahad Campbell turns into Bryce Huff with the Jets, that's not a home run.
Sure. Yeah.
No, you might still get the linebacker stuff, but yeah, I think you invite more of the upside variance with Jahad Campbell.
You're happy with the variability of what Campbell could become.
Okay, that's a good one.
I like that one.
All right, your turn to ask one of us.
So convince me. And this, I texted Bo, Fran, and Deniz this morning. I'm curious Fran's perspective on the conversation that the 3 of us had. When I say 3 of us, Professor Selman, Bo, and me yesterday, as far as is replacing Josh Sweat more difficult than replacing Kelee Ringo. And this is one where I felt pretty strongly when I left, and I still feel strongly, but I was considering and I was reading the YouTube comments, which were pretty good about this. And one person said that the Eagles always emphasize edge rushers, and they had bad defenses, or like not. And then he said the year they had this great secondary, they had the number one defense. And I might be too swayed by a decade plus covering the Eagles and thinking like everything's on the line of scrimmage and you can get by with replacement level corners. But it showed like last year was the first time I covered a team, and 2022 to be fair, when they had really high level corners. And I can see how it affects the entire defense when you have that. I'm still more of a pass rush guy, but I'm curious your perspective. Who's harder to replace?
Well, I was in thinking about this. I think that there's a couple things, right? If you're looking at replacing these guys right now on May 30th, 2025, I think the plan to replace Darius Slay is a little bit more. You feel a little bit better about that than the plan to replace Josh Sweat, because I think Kelee Ringo has been in the building for 2 years, whereas Jalyx Hunt's only been in the building for 1. Sure. I think there's probably a little. To me personally, I probably have a little bit more faith in the floor for Ringo than I do for Hunt at this point. Given that. That said, I think I land more with Daniz with his feeling on it yesterday, where when I look at this defensive scheme, I think it's more important for the corner situation to be fixed or to be solidified, as opposed to like they could figure it out in the aggregate with the pass rush. That's kind of the way I'm viewing it right now, especially because for the majority of last season, the pass. It's not like the pass rush was like, oh man, like they are unstoppable. Right. Whereas with the secondary, we looked at that all season long and said like this is one of the best groups in the NFL.
I think also like there's a much bigger difference between the 20th best corner in football and the 80th best corner in football than there is with the 20th best defensive end and the 80th best defensive end. Like you will still get a guy who is serviceable at defensive end, who's going to get to the quarterback eventually, especially if the coverage is good enough.
Yep.
I mean, I agree with you from a team building standpoint. I would still overvalue the defensive line relative to the secondary. Part of that is because I think secondary play in itself is a little bit unsticky. But with this team, the way they play, I would say if they're going to be the best defense in football again, it's going to be more important that the secondary keeps up its level of play than the pass rush.
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I think that I don't want to dive too deep into that last point because it's part of one of my next prompts. But yeah, I think that's right.
Now, I also think that the Jalen Carter part of this is very interesting, right? We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but yeah, if you're expecting him to be one of the best defensive tackles in football and the kind of like force multiplier, then you probably will be able to get by with some just solid defensive ends.
Right. And I mean, the other big part of it too is that like in week 2, is Jalyx Hunt going to look like Josh Sweat? Probably not. But by the time you get to week 15, by the time you get to the divisional round of the playoffs, like what kind of impact is Jalyx Hunt having by that point after being a full-time player, a presumed full-time player for the majority of the year? Hopefully you're banking that he's getting closer and closer to his upside by that point.
What about Nolan Smith's ability to stay healthy? Does that concern you?
A little bit. Yeah. I mean, I loved Nolan Smith coming out of Georgia. He did get banged up a little bit down there. I mean, just with his size and with his physicality, the way that he just kind of attacks the run game with reckless abandon at times. I mean, we see how that can work in your favor, but obviously that can be a double-edged sword. And so gets that surgery right after the season. He dealt. What was it that early on that his rookie year that he was dealing with? Was that?
He had the shoulder.
It was the shoulder. It was still a shoulder. So yeah, I mean it's a little concerning. Yeah, I'm definitely a little bit. It's in the back of my mind a little bit.
Okay. Are you moved at all? Yeah, I mean I think that's a concern.
Yeah,
but I don't know what they're going to do about it right now.
No, I mean you can't.
But does that move the needle for you at all, Zach? Or you're still on defensive end?
I'm still on. I mean, I've moved my position since yesterday a bit, but I'm still a tough to replace pass rusher. And Josh Sweat is a really good player who is probably underappreciated in Philly, not on this set, but among Eagles fans.
Oh, I don't think that this is a Josh Sweat thing.
No, but I think that they're gonna. I do think they're gonna miss Sweat. I really do, and I think that there's this idea that they were an effective pass rushing team last year without like a premier pass rusher. And Josh Sweat, the market showed you he's an $18 million pass rusher. He's been a 2-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah, but Zach,
what?
We were talking about this in the Bryce Huff episode. What did the market say about Bryce Huff?
Well, that's true. I get that. But I think that the market's sometimes wrong and sometimes correct. And I think in this case, I think Josh Sweat's going to have a really good year with the Cardinals. I think.
I mean, what a match made in heaven.
I think he's going to be the most productive edge rusher to leave Philadelphia since Derek Burgess. Actually, no, Chris Clemens. Chris Clemens was a good player when he left.
Okay, what's the bar here, though?
Chris Clemens and Derek Burgess.
Okay. More to come. One more break to tell you about some sponsors. Empire today. Not yesterday, not tomorrow. You need your flooring fixed today. And that's what they do at Empire today. We've all been to those big box stores. You wander around endless aisles. Where do I even go? You're hauling these materials home, looking for an installer, coordinating everything yourself. No. Those big box stores might have a flooring department, but the person helping you with flooring might have been doing sinks yesterday, stocking light bulbs tomorrow. You want a flooring expert, and you want them to come to your home so you can see what the stuff is going to look like in your space. That's where Empire Today comes in. Their flooring experts bring the showroom right to you so you can pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space. See how it looks with your furniture in your house. Get precise measurements taken and have all your questions answered so there are no surprises. With Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. PHLY listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code PHLY. You heard that right. A $350 discount with code PHLY. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/PHLY for full details.
We'll now hear from our friends at Glatt Hair Restoration, because if your hairline has been slipping and you're thinking about doing something about it, listen up, because there are people out there that are going overseas to handle this problem. And I'm here to tell you that there is no reason that you need to go that far. Hair transplants, they are not just cosmetic. They're real surgery. And if you're considering flying overseas just to save a couple of bucks, think again. At Glatt Hair Restoration, or by Morgenstern Medical in Ballackinwood, you're getting care from board-certified surgeons with over 30 years of experience. They follow strict U.S. safety standards and deliver results that actually last. And here's the best part. You can text them a picture of your hair right now, and their team will take a look and let you know what options make most sense for you. No pressure, just expert insight. So you can skip the travel. You don't need your real ID. You don't need to wait for 6 hours in line like how Zach tried the other day. Skip the risk. Get real care from a trusted local team. Text your photo or call 610-980-4000 or visit glatthairmm.com. That's Glatt Hair by Morgenstern Medical. Let's get that hairline back in the game.
More super chats to get to. We've got DJ is back. Says Bryce Huff was more effective than his stats indicated. I believe all of Jalen Carter's sacks came with Huff on the field. Is that true?
I don't think so. Bryce Huff missed a lot of time.
Yeah, I'd have to
and
look
Jalen Carter.
I don't know about all of them, but
yeah.
it's possible some of them did.
I would say I'm usually someone who's like on the positivity end of things.
Yeah.
Like I'm usually someone to look at things glass half full. And so as everyone else is talking about the negative with Bryce Huff, I'll usually say like, all right, yeah, it's not that bad.
It's pretty bad.
It was pretty bad.
Okay. David says, Bo, Baby Wolf's initials, LEW for Lou Nichols. Unfortunately, not the middle initial, but that would be very funny.
It would have been a terrible way
Lou
for
World
Rachel
Order.
to find out.
Yeah, that's true. All right, I'm going to give you mine. I want you guys to work together here.
Wait, by the way, I just want to just be clear here. Jalen Carter, he had 2 sacks in that Rams game.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, Bryce Huff wasn't active for that game. Yeah. And during without even looking at the on-field stats, the games when Bryce Huff was absent from week 11 to week 15, Carter had a sack in there as well.
I wonder if he meant Sweat.
Oh,
Yeah, because
I don't know. Sweat in the Super Bowl
Sweat had- yeah,
had
right.
2.5 sacks.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Anyways,
Okay.
I don't mean the customer's usually right. But
All right.
that's it.
I'm going to give you guys a blind ranking. Okay.
I love
Ooh,
this.
this game always causes me so much
And
stress.
you'll take turns. Okay. So we'll go
Okay.
Fran,
Oh,
Zach,
okay.
Fran,
Okay.
Zach. And what we are doing here is the worst free agent signings of Howie Roseman's career.
Okay.
Okay. So you're going to go first, Fran. I'm going to give you,
What's the how many?
there are 10.
10.
There are 10.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
It goes to 10. So 1 being the worst
Yeah.
signing. Patrick Chung.
10 is the worst.
10 is the worst. No. 1 is the worst.
1 is the
Yeah.
worst. All right.
Yeah.
So then, trying to remember the extent of that deal. Obviously, he was only here.
I think it was like 3 years, 12 million. or
Yeah, which isn't a
thereabouts.
great deal. We'll put it right in the middle at 5.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach, I'll give you someone from the same time period. Bradley Fletcher.
8.
Okay.
I mean that wasn't a horrible deal. He was a 2-year starter. He wasn't very good, but low cost contract for a 2-year starter.
Nice guy, Bradley Fletcher.
Yes.
Malik Jackson.
Ooh.
I love Malik Jackson. The health was the big thing.
Got hurt in his first game.
That was a big contract. Probably worse than Chung, right? Right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
3,
Ooh, okay.
4.
Yeah.
3 it
Let's
is.
go 3.
Yeah, 3.
Bryce Huff.
2.
2.
You got one ahead.
Interesting.
Okay. All right, you've
Got one in his mind
Yeah.
already. All right. I'm going to give you
there's-
Jatavis
right.
Brown.
James Brown, 10.
Yeah, they don't really hurt them too much.
Zach Nicholas Moro.
9.
Yeah.
Okay.
I paid him nothing. He started, so
Fran. Andrew Sendejo.
Oh, jeez.
Because you got to factor in not only he's also injuring your own players.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I'm afraid if I put it too high, he's become flying through the glass here.
You got 1, 4, 6, and 7 left.
Yeah, let's go 7.
Okay. Zach. Orlando Scandrick.
what's left?
1, 4, and 6.
6.
I don't know. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah,
Poison
but
the
yeah.
well.
True, but the financial implications
Sure.
weren't tough.
All right. Fran. Isaac Sopoaga.
Yeah, I mean, what was it? It was 1, 4. It was
1 and 4 is
1
all
and
you have
4,
left.
so it's 4.
Okay. And I think you know who number 1 is, Zach.
Namdi Asma?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 1 for me.
So
Yeah.
you think Namdi is a worse signing than Bryce Huff?
Yes.
I don't.
Yeah, well,
Namdi played.
he struggled. He was the face of like a bad era for the Eagles.
Right.
Well, that's not it, but it's not
Wait,
his fault. He's the
but
face of it.
he prompted them to then trade Asante Samuel, who was a productive player for them. Also, and this actually helped long term with Howie Roseman, but Namdi Aswa did not have offsetting language in his contract, and so they cut him, and he still got every dollar he
Yeah.
was owed, even when he went on and he signed. Was it with the 49ers that he went and signed with? So. Yeah, I think Namdi was the worst. Also, they made him the highest paid corner in the NFL.
Yeah, but he played for the team for 2 years.
Yeah,
but not well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly a more public.
Right.
So, but this is the thing.
failing.
The Bryce
I think
Huff,
in terms of pure ROI,
Yeah.
I think the Bryce Huff signing is worse.
but the Bryce Huff contract did not hurt the Eagles in that they won the Super Bowl.
Of course.
The Namdi contract, like that.
Well,
yeah,
but that's not because of the contract. It's because the
No.
team was bad.
true.
Yeah.
But he was a part of the team being bad. And I
think we're talking
personally like
past each other
Namdi.
a little bit.
We have
I
to
don't-
we have to disentangle the bird on a wire
Sure.
end of things.
I mean, I'm going to
here.
ride for my guy.
Yeah.
You know that.
Me too. Also, I'm not holding it. I always enjoyed conversations with Namdi. It was the moment of the most embarrassing. It was the most embarrassing moment of my journalistic career.
Really?
I've told you this
I don't
story.
know, but I'm surprised it's the most. There've
Number
been so
one.
many.
The most embarrassing moment of my journalistic
Okay.
career. And I'll tell the audience. I'll tell Fran. he
Oh
hasn't-
yeah, I don't know if I've heard this.
So my first summer on the beat,
Mhm.
and he's wearing a T-shirt with 4 people crossing a street, and I'm trying to make conversation
Andrew
with
knows
him.
where this is going already.
And I'm like, what's the significance of your T-shirt? And he looked at me and he's like, that's the Beatles. I was like, huh? He's like, or no. He said, this is Abbey Road. That's what he said. And I was like, so what does that mean? He's like, it's the Beatles. I was like, huh? like the band? He's like, yeah. And I was like, oh. But everyone was like, I was new on the beat. And you have a bunch of like middle-aged sports writers who all know the Beatles, and it's like, who this guy is like. Has this guy seen anything other than the Ole Miss defense or something? Yeah. So embarrassing moment. Should be more culturally literate.
The fact that that's your most embarrassing journalistic moment. That's not bad at all.
That's pretty embarrassing. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Over to you, Fran.
All right. My next one. Would Pecker they rather Jordan Davis gets 5 sacks this year, or Kelee Ringo gets 5 interceptions?
Ooh. Kelee Ringo gets 5 interceptions.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
First of all, you're guaranteeing turnovers.
Yeah.
As opposed to sacks.
Sure.
Like you're just on a baseline level.
Fair.
You take that.
Right.
And I think that means that he has earned the right to be on the field. You're maybe discounting injuries, but yeah, I think it's more important for them that Kelee Ringo is good enough to earn Vic's trust and be on the field enough to get 5 interceptions,
right,
than for Jordan Davis to get 5 sacks.
Do you disagree?
No, I probably would have leaned
because the pass rush juice.
I probably would have leaned Kelee Ringo there. I was interested to see if the Jordan Davis of it all was enough to kind of sway you. Mm-hmm. Well, we're all 3 of us on the same page.
So this is a fun convince me here, Eagles related. So I changed this on the spot before this trade happened. It was going to be convince me that Bryce Huff can have a role on this team. Then the trade happened. So convince me who should go to Greg D's office on Monday and ask for 0, like a coveted number. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, DFOP Dan McQuaid texted me during the show. He says he knew that Bryce Huff was going to be a bust once he took Swoop's number.
Well, he took DeAndre Swift's number. Yeah.
Well, actually, McQuaid.
Sorry, he took DeAndre Swift's number.
Well, actually, DeAndre Swift was wearing that number.
That's how I sound.
Done that before.
I mean, it's still Swoop's number originally, just because someone else had it in the interim,
Yeah. Okay. All right. He took Swoop's number. There you go. Who should take 0?
Nobody.
Nobody? Oh, they're gonna be knocking on Greg's office, and Greg D. Lemitros, the outstanding vice president of equipment with the Eagles. Who should? I'm curious who the 0 would be. I wonder if Jahad Campbell.
I'm going to think less about 0 and more who needs a new number.
I wonder if Jahad Campbell goes in and asks for 0.
He shouldn't do that.
No?
No, you can't. You don't want to.
I mean, 30, 0. It's.
I kind of like 30 for Campbell.
For Campbell.
All right, let's see who needs a new number.
Chat, feel free to weigh in.
If Mac McWilliams wasn't 22, because 22 is that's a coveted number.
That's a good one.
Then
sure.
I think I like Mac McWilliams in a 0. But
why?
Yeah, I think that could fit him. But 22, he shouldn't move off 22. So.
Let's see here. No, none of these guys are that bad.
All right.
57. That's a good
You got
number.
one?
Yeah, I think I got one.
Brett Toth.
No, it should be Avery Williams.
Oh, Agent 0. I like that.
That's a good one.
Yeah, he's 18.
Yeah. Free up 18 for somebody else. Yeah.
Yep.
True.
Avery Williams at 0 makes a lot of sense.
That is a good one. Do we have another super chat there? Did I miss one? No, we don't. Okay. All right. I'm going to give you one here. Let's say, which assistant coach who is not a coordinator are you most convinced will become a head coach one day?
You can go Christian Parker.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why?
Now, he's on the defensive side, so it's a harder threshold, but he's young, right? Ascending a coach. I expect him to be a coordinator in the next few years. Really good communication skills, and I think that's important to be a head coach. And, I think that there are I think there are qualities there that if I'm saying like
I
non-coordinator.
think he has a presence to him.
Exactly. And I don't think that can be dismissed. Like I saw an interesting tweet from our friend Greg Rosenthal, who said that he's kind of staking on like the nepotism, the anti-nepotism thing, or I forget how he framed it, that Brian Schottenheimer will be a better head coach than coordinator, just like his father was, right? And I think that they're different jobs. Not to say Christian Parker won't be a good coordinator, but I think Christian Parker has a presence. He's young. Players rave about him, so I'm going with him.
He's I would say, next up in terms of getting a coordinator job. So I think it's a fair assumption to say he's
in
the
terms
next
of the
in line.
bet.
Yeah, he's closer to the finish line than the rest of the group.
But he's a defensive coach.
Yeah.
Yep.
But also the offensive coaches are all a little bit further along in their careers, and you would think if they were ascending to that level that they might have already.
Anyone offensively?
You go Stout?
Parks Frazier.
Oh, Parks Frazier. Okay.
Yeah, I guess.
But that's a complete shot in the dark. Like that's he's just young,
Yeah. Maybe Leffler.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is it NFL head coach?
Yeah.
Ah.
I could see like Jamal, if
Jump back to college.
If Air Force opened up, like Jamal Singleton, head coach at Air Force.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, see that.
Can you name North Carolina State's defensive coordinator?
No.
He's someone who worked for the Eagles within the last 3 years.
Within the last 3 years?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Tracy Rocker.
No. You want me to give you it? Because
No, give us the initials.
Okay. D.E.
Donnell Ellerby.
No. I'll just tell you. DJ Elliott.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Found a good landing
Interesting.
spot.
Yeah.
He didn't coach last year. He was probably still under contract. He hangs out at home. You're cranking the film. You're
Hangs out at home cranking.
Yeah.
The film.
You visit. You visit.
It's a good year off.
But you visit Pro Football Focus for a day, and now he's
cranking it there too.
Now he's positioned to be an ACC defensive coordinator. So yeah, DJ Elliott.
Okay, you're up last, or you're up first for your last round, Fran.
Would Pecker they rather Aniyah Smith be the star of the preseason?
Ooh.
Or Sidney Brown be the star of the preseason?
Ooh, Sidney Brown.
If Sidney Brown is the star of the preseason,
I
he
agree.
becomes the starter, and then Mukuba is not a starter.
Yeah, true.
I think I'd go Aniyah Smith.
Number 3 receiver.
Because to be the star of a preseason at safety defensively is not necessarily indicative of you're going to be a good player, right?
Yep.
The offenses are relatively vanilla. Maybe you're having big hits that make highlights, but that doesn't necessarily portend you're going to be everywhere in the right place all the time. Whereas if like the thing that we have not seen from Aniyah Smith is just juice, to look the part on the field. And if he's doing that, then I think that would be nice.
The one factor in this that I didn't really take into account as I put it together was that if Sidney Brown is starring in the preseason, that means that Mukuba is clearly ahead of him and is sitting out, and so that means that but you get the point.
But I see where you're going.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike convinced me he's non-football related, and this is something that's been on my mind. I'm curious here. This is a little.
Should we save it for overtime? No, I'll give it to.
Okay, so tipping is something that I spend a lot of time thinking about tipping.
Me too.
I care a lot about tipping. I think it's important to tip.
Well, yeah.
No, or to tip well. Okay, it's important to tip well. Okay. But this is one that I kind of struggle with. Okay. What's your view on tipping takeout? And do you do the flat? If you do tip, do you believe in tipping the flat fee or the percentage? Because the percentage, I get kind of, because it comes up on the screen, right? And if you're doing takeout, like you have a big order for takeout, a percentage of that's pretty substantial, but you're doing the takeout, as opposed to
what kind of takeout are we talking?
You get What kind of thing? Vietnamese or Chinese?
Thinking about like in terms of the order, how big the
how big the order?
Yeah.
Let's say.
I mean, how much are you spending on the
Yeah.
order?
Let's
There's dinner for two versus catering for
yeah. Let's go $70.
Okay.
$70. What's your tip?
And is this so it's Vietnamese
What's that?
in this situation?
Yeah.
Or
pick any delicacy you want.
Well, but I think it's like the labor put into it matters.
But the tip's not going to the people doing the labor in that case.
Well, the tips are pooled in theory.
Yeah, but it's
for
pulled
everybody.
by the service, not by the kitchen staff, right? The kitchen staff's not getting the tip.
Yeah, but I don't think you can twist yourself into who is this tip going to go towards, and I'm going to tip less because it's not going to the person who really deserves it.
It's not a matter of deserving. It's just like
you're in theory you're spreading.
But my point is that when you tip for the meal, you're tipping for the service, right? In this case, there's not much of a service charge.
I don't know all the way agree with that, but
okay.
I mean, I am.
So what's yours?
I am an over tipper.
Yeah, but like, what's your tipping protocol for takeout?
I would. Well, first of all, I do. I mean, I would rather.
We should mention where. Yeah.
I would rather. Oh yeah, we're find out the answer in
overtime.
I would probably tip $10.
$10. So does the price of the meal factor into what you're tipping?
Of course.
Okay. Is it the same thing with delivery?
Of course.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. But so let's workshop this a bit, because the delivery driver in this case is they're not working for the restaurant, right? They're working for service. So it's like you're tipping for their service in that case. So if they're driving 10 minutes to bring something over that's, a $15 pizza, or they're driving 10 minutes to bring over $60 whatever, their service is the same. Like, shouldn't the tip should not like, I'm giving a generous tip on the first one because their service is just the same.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Thank you. Right? Yeah. I see Bo disagrees with me.
I'm just, you know what? Like, the world is so hard. Just spread the wealth, man. That's how I feel.
Wait, so you get the $15 pizza. You're tipping. You're only tipping. I mean, what's your tip for that then?
A $15 delivery pizza?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not a ton, but
oh, you see, but the service is the same as like their role. They're doing the same thing in that case as if they were delivering $70 of Vietnamese food. Okay, so yeah, I tip just like in the chat here. I tip flat fee on delivery.
what? Yeah, I don't.
You don't? Okay. Interesting. So I feel like the people who are delivering you like the $15 pizza, they're probably pissed off at the tip in that case. Like they're driving.
So you're giving multiple tips. You're tipping the place and then you're tipping the driver.
Well, delivery, I'm not tipping the place.
So what do you mean they're upset?
I mean, they're in the example I gave, they're going 10 minutes to your house, right? And they're only getting tipped on the $15 pizza as opposed to for the service they're providing.
Well, but I'm not giving them $1.
Well, no, I said you're tipping the same. So it behooves them, like if they're DoorDash or Uber Eats or Grubhub, it behooves them to like only want to pick up from expensive places then, right? So then that's hurting the. Are you following what I'm saying?
I'm following what you're saying. I think part of the disconnect for me is I'm not often ordering from like a DoorDash where it's a complete third party, as opposed to like this restaurant has its delivery driver.
Okay. All right. Admittedly,
so it
most
feels
of
like
mine
a little bit more like it's to the place
fair.
itself.
Fair.
Okay.
But
yeah, that changes it.
Yeah, most of my deliveries, admittedly, from a delivery service.
Like I mean, one thing I will always try to do is try to find out if the restaurant has its own ordering thing as opposed to going through the third-party service because they're getting more of the money. And you're not getting killed on the fees either. But yeah.
And then for takeout, are you delivering? You're tipping on the percentage as opposed to the flat? Because I'm kind of with what the chat's saying here, which is like you have the standard. I'm tipping X amount for the flat order, or like for the pickup.
I think takeout especially. It would not just be the flat. I mean, how much I'm ordering is going to affect it for sure.
Okay.
There's also like, is this a place you frequent a lot? So they don't, you're not like Mr. $2 tip who's coming around all the time. There's like the repeated game aspect of it.
I would imagine too, it would change if it's like one of the pizza places we order from, or if I go pick it up, it's like, oh, they keep the food like up on top of the oven, it's keeping warm. Someone goes and grabs it, brings it over, as opposed to like some of the chains where it's like, there's a shelf over there where you can go and pick it up. You can just grab it.
Oh, sure.
That's going to be a little bit different in terms of, I don't know, how willing I am to go overboard with tips.
So this is a conversation I had with someone recently. Do you tip on drive-through?
No.
So how's that different than pickup?
I kind of object to like the trying to make sure that other people aren't getting tipped.
But
because it's to the establishment.
It's to the workers. Like I'm paying the establishment for the food. The food's going to the establishment. The tip's going to the workers. It's like ideally, like I want to create, and I suppose Venmo is like this, but I would love an app where you can tip directly, as opposed to putting it on on like the credit card that goes to the or like I don't carry cash. And I want to carry cash more for tipping situations. It's kind of like if I go to the barber shop, I'll bring cash for that. But like I heard, actually, shout out to Philly Special, they had the conversation. This screws me up all the time at hotels. Okay. Front desks don't carry cash anymore. Like you want to tip the housekeeping service, right? But I don't carry cash. If I don't have cash in my bag, I'm catching the flight, I go to the front desk. Can you break whatever? And they don't carry cash. And so then you're like, what do you do here? It's tough. It's tough. So there should be an app that could easily, like, just call it Tip App. And it's just like Cash App or Venmo. Or tap.
I feel like I was at a hotel relatively recently where there was something like that, where there was a QR code.
Exactly, which is great. Which is great. How about tap tip? I tap my phone against your phone, and
I don't think you want to go too far down the line with tap tip.
How about just the tip, Zach?
Okay. So Valet Parkers now. I'll do like Venmo or Cash App or yeah. But I'm fascinated by I get so thrown off at the counter for takeout. Even for I know this is a thing. There's articles about this, but like when you buy a coffee and then you pay with your card.
I know. It is a little bit much
because you hate clicking no tip.
Right.
But it's like you poured the black coffee into the cup, right? So
and the presentation of it is very much like, are you a good person or a bad person?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's why I try to just do the standard, like, regard. Yeah. So, anyways, the chat. Please weigh in on the comments. I read every comment. So please weigh in.
Tip tap.
Yeah, weigh in with your ideas for the name of this app.
I mean, it could just be Cash App or
right. I don't think you need a new app.
We need
to make it accepted to use those things.
We do need something universal though. Like the thing. So some people use Zelle. Are you familiar with Zelle?
Yeah.
Zelle's like we got to work on this. You got to go into your bank account app, log on to Zelle that way.
Right.
Yeah. That's and then you have to type in the person's name. And it becomes a whole thing. It's way too personal at that point too, right?
Better just tap their tip.
Well, no, just like phone number to phone number, or like code, or I mean, Venmo is the most effective, right? You have a code for the person. That's the way to go, or a QR code. But yeah, we need a universal money transfer app that we can all use.
Feels like a pitch for your startup.
Well, there's too much diversification in this business, right? We need to
Now we're against diversity.
Yeah, we need to monopolize this. So, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you have one more?
Well, one more.
Yeah, but it's not a good one.
Oh, okay.
We don't have to do it.
All right.
We could save it for another time.
Thank God for Bryce Huff.
Your birthday's coming up.
Yeah, Monday.
Here's my question then. This will be my question. What was your favorite birthday as a kid? Birthday party.
Favorite birthday party as a kid? As a kid? Like as a little kid?
I mean, I guess
like
it doesn't
growing
have
up,
to be.
you know, like I had good times going out, like growing up and stuff. But as a kid, I remember going to putt golf right across the street from Jardel Playground. For our viewers from Northeast Philadelphia. There's a car dealership there now. But putt golf. I think I was first grade.
I like that.
Yeah.
Big group.
Yeah, it was like my class, family, cousins. Yeah.
How do you guys feel about the do you invite the whole class?
It's a tough one there. Yeah, it's become in vogue to do that. I don't like that.
You don't like that?
No.
It's hard because the places if you
I think you got to. I think you either keep it very relatively small, like a handful of kids, or you invite the whole class.
If you're doing it at your house or at a park or something like that, then inviting the whole class is doable. But man,
these parties are expensive.
Parties are expensive.
Well, I know,
man. So
but then to single 5 kids out who you're not going to invite, that's tough.
Yeah, we just went through this.
You hope for some cancellations.
Yeah,
no, we said here's
it's tough.
Got 5 kids or 7 kids.
Okay, yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
So you picked a select few and then just don't talk about it in school.
Yeah, we've been inviting the whole class, and
it's tough, man.
It's been a conversation piece, and I lost that
money.
one.
Big topic on this episode.
yeah. I mean,
listen,
look, this is
Emily. If you want to invite the whole class, I gotta go to Five Below for that gift card for that.
Yeah, or Mother's Day present. Yeah, or anniversary present. Yeah.
Or I gotta write another book next year.
Yeah.
Yeah. True.
Okay. Anything else you want to talk about?
What's your favorite birthday? Yeah, I feel like you wanted to be.
Oh no, I didn't have one in mind. Probably medieval times is what comes to mind.
You did a birthday party at medieval
not
times?
the whole class. This was
How many people came?
probably
No.
4 people, maybe 4 or 5 people.
You've done medieval. I feel like how many times have you done medieval times?
Realistically, 6 or 7.
Wow.
I've actually never done it.
Love that
that's
garlic
great.
bread.
I can't wait to. I'm gonna maybe try to take Casey this summer.
Nice.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I did that last year. I told you.
I know you did the party bus.
Hyping up the garlic bread, and yeah, my brothers were like,
Yeah, it's just a very normal.
it's very average
piece of
garlic
Texas
bread.
toast.
I remember this garlic bread being like epic, and
Yeah.
the whole way up, I'm like, guys, you're gonna love it. I was like, don't eat a snack right now because this garlic
That's so
bread is
funny.
gonna be awesome. And I don't know, maybe I either it went downhill or I forgot. I overrated how good the garlic bread was. It was like just microwavable garlic bread. It seemed like, so yeah, that was a
Now,
bust.
before we go, we should mention, we've got the PHLY golf event coming up on June 14th, which you can sign up for. There's a bit of an extra hook that you can sign up for. If you go and check it out, you can join Fran Duffy's foursome.
Ah, that's right.
Yes. So if you want to play golf with Fran, talk about doing guys in the middle of a foursome, it is there for you to buy. Very exciting.
Very exciting. Yeah, that'll be. We're a couple weeks out, so that'll be a lot of fun.
Now I am also gonna be playing. It's a closed foursome.
Look at you. Wow.
Who's in your foursome? You got a
Wouldn't
group?
you like to know?
You got a group?
I got a group. Saturday, June 14th, Valley Brook Country Club, 2:00 shotgun start, the 2nd annual PHLY Liberty Open. Come play with Fran. How's your game? Have you played?
I haven't played at all.
Me neither.
I'm hoping to get a round in this weekend. So
Okay.
the next couple of days I'll be out. And I'll hopefully get one more round in before the Liberty Open. So
Okay.
yeah, if I can get I usually start
Yeah,
pretty
beginner.
well.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have any bad habits right away.
Start the summer hot streak. So I'm like, all right, hopefully play a couple rounds, shake the rust off, and I'm playing pretty well by the time we get to Valley Brook.
ZB looks the most comfortable he's been in a while.
Have I looked uncomfortable in the past?
No, I don't.
I mean,
don't.
it's been a few weeks since I've been.
I think the Carolina Blue is new, right?
No.
Have you done the Carolina Blue?
Yeah, a few times.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Belichick.
Yeah, a few times. Well, it's not for that. Maybe Jordan or Jordan. Great story, by the way, by Zach Kiefer today on Pablo Torre. Make sure you check that out. But no, I haven't been made fun of as much during the past few weeks, so I feel a little better about that. Could be that. Yeah.
I don't think you ever made fun of that much.
Chat, weigh in. So
made fun with.
With. Okay.
Yes.
How do you feel about Tipsy is the name of the app?
Tipsy?
Yeah. I was in the chat.
I understand that you guys have minds that lead you lead you into middle school sex ed class, but like to me, Tip Tap is
Andrew is losing it.
I still think I didn't put together any innuendo until you made it seem that way. To me, that's like you just tap your phones and that's how you get the tip. But
to me, Tip Tap.
Yeah. But in any effect, Tipsy's. I'm cool with Tipsy. It's like there's a barbershop app called Booksy. Have you heard of this?
Yes.
Yeah. So Booksy, I suppose that.
I think we have one other super chat that came in under the wire here before we get going. Joe Rockhead. The chat did a guess on Fran's.
There's a few here.
Can you reveal? Oh, how much do you tip a haircut? Oh, we got a lot.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Okay, hold on. Joe, Bo, you owe Zach an apology for the voice thingy. You have an underlying hurt there. You must get out.
I feel like there was a
Fran,
line crossed there that we have not crossed yet on the show.
Really?
Yeah. You've never done
Okay.
Oh, please. I do my own voice like that too.
You do, yeah.
I mean, that was not a Zach voice.
That's
It was a well, actually, let me correct you voice.
It was a Melvin.
Yes. I'm sorry, Zach. I love you.
That's
I will
okay.
not apologize.
No
for
worries.
that.
No worries.
Polar Jam. In theory, ZB, a filet will garner a larger tip than a burger, but the server did the same thing, but you would tip more for the filet. Took the order. I guess Polar Jam is a couple things.
Yeah, so I actually thought about this, Polar Jam.
Prepped the to-go boxes and bags.
Yeah, if I can respond to this, I thought about this Polar Jam, and my understanding is that like the hiring process, if you will, for let's say like a nice steakhouse, is different than for like the neighborhood pizza shop, right? And so I think like there's at the restaurant where they have the filet, there's a certain expectation for what the service will be like.
No,
right?
but at the same restaurant.
Oh, for this.
Let's say
I'm
you
sorry for
order-
the steak.
Let's say you
Gotcha.
order a $15 burger or
Yeah,
a
you know
$40
what?
steak.
Yeah, and look, this is something that I've thought about in the past because, admittedly, I'm not a big drinker, right? And so, I say like waiters and waitresses must hate my table because we're not racking up the alcohol tab the way some other people might, right? And that's like the surest way for a bigger tip is because you get some of these cocktails you get like 3 of them, boom, that's a huge tip. So yeah, I've thought about that because I am like a standard percentage tipper, right? I guess that's the luck of the draw, but it's a valid point, Polar Jam.
Okay. And then my POV life, how much do you tip a haircut?
Typically $5. Is that
Depends on the price.
Yeah. They've gotten more expensive lately.
yeah?
Yeah.
But I overtip my guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, should I tip more?
I don't know how much you're paying for the haircut itself.
What's your haircut tip?
I like about 20% or the closest round
Go like
number.
30, yep.
Okay. Does it matter if it's the owner of the shop or not? That's something I saw in the chat. What do you think, Andrew?
I tip. I've had the same barber.
Yeah.
I tip $20
You tip $20
on top of what
on
I'm
top
paying
of the
my $45 haircut. Yeah.
On a 45er.
Yeah.
Wow,
him.
good for you,
No, you-
man.
You know, you get good service each time.
Yeah,
so-
of course.
Yeah.
Mhm. I'm the same way.
Yeah, you're paying for the repeated camaraderie.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an investment.
Wow. Okay, I gotta up my barber's the man. I gotta tip him. I gotta raise this.
More money coming out of that greeting card budget. And then, Fran, do you want to reveal your birthday?
Did I say what day it is?
Did I say it?
I don't know if I said. I think you said I'd have it coming up.
Yeah.
I'll be close to 40.
Team June.
We're close to 40.
Oh, I thought they were guessing what day you're.
They were guessing which they were guessing the age, like what year. What I'm gonna be. What the age
okay.
is. So
35.
Yeah, I'm good. Above that, north of that,
Okay.
close to 40. I don't get bothered by like
Yeah,
birthdays and age like a
Yeah,
lot of people do. Yeah.
me too.
Yeah.
I'm 39.
Damn proud of it.
Damn proud of it.
Not 39 yet.
Got a few months left before I'm 50
A couple days.
So-
Before you're 50?
or 40. Well, it's just in theory, but yeah, until I'm 40.
Okay. All right. Good stuff, everybody. That'll do it for the PHLY Eagles podcast, the Bryce Huff episode. Figure out how the Eagles will move on without Bryce Huff in their lives. We will be back on Monday. We're going to be at the Brian Dawkins golf event. So that'll be a lot of fun. A little road show. And then Tuesday, I believe, we will get another chance to watch Eagles practice. So we'll have you covered from all angles on that. For Fran and Zach and Andrew for making it all happen, we thank you for watching and listening. We'll talk to you on Monday. And as always, we love you.
We all silly like the mayor.